RusAme reader, Kuro's Song, and today I will be reading to you from Never Left by Plastic Bag 3207. Now, on to Chapter 17. Russia smiled as he put the black tie on. He was wearing a white dress shirt and black pants. The man looked over to his white dog, who was still wagging his tail happily. "Come on, Chips, let's go," he said with a smile, as they both walked to the car and got in. Russia, of course, in the driver's seat, and Chips in the passenger seat. He started up the car and grabbed his phone to play some music. Russia scrolled through till he got to a certain song and tapped on it. He smiled as he put his phone back on the dashboard and listened to it play. There once was a bittersweet man, and they called him Lemon Boy. He was growing in my garden, and I pulled him out by his hair like a weed. But like weeds do, he only came and grew back again. So I figured this time I might as well let him be. Lemon Boy and me started to get along together. I helped him plant his seeds, and we'd mow the lawn in bad weather. It's actually pretty easy being nice to a bitter boy like him, so I got myself a citrus friend. Russia could feel a tear fall down his face, but it wasn't a tear of sadness. Sure, he did miss his lover, but he had come to peace with the fact that America was gone. He would never fall in love with another person, but he had his family to care for and to care for him. Even if some of them weren't related by blood, who said that matters when it comes to love and caring? But soon his bittersweet started to rub off on me. You'd think smelling like lemon zest would be pretty neat. I found out that my friends are more of the savory type, and they weren't too keen on compromising with a nice lemon pie. So Lemon Boy and me, we just gotta get along together. I'll help him plant his seeds, and we'll mow the lawn in bad weather. It's actually pretty easy being nice to a bitter boy like him, so I got myself a citrus friend. Russia sang. He could see Chips wagging his tail out of the corner of his eye. But what if I run out of fertilizer? What if the clouds run out of rain? What if Lemon Boy won't grow no longer? What if beaches dry of sugar cane? Oh, well, the whales start to beach themselves, tortoise shells tear away from their spines. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Lemon Boy and I, we're gonna live forever. Like Snufkin and Little My, we'll get around wherever. Lemon Boy and I, we're gonna live forever. Like Snufkin and Little My, we'll get around wherever. It's actually pretty easy being nice to a bitter boy like him, 'cause we're the bitterest boys in town. Yeah, we're the bitterest guys around, and now I got myself a citrus friend. Russia sighed as the song ended. The rest of the car ride was quiet. but it was a comfortable silence. He didn't need to talk. There was no awkwardness, just peace. Russia pulled into a parking spot and hopped out. He grabbed a leash and let Chips out of the car. He wasn't afraid that the dog would run away. He had just found that people took more comfort in seeing that the dog was on a leash. Perhaps it looked like he was under more control. Who knows? Russia smiled and waved as he saw Germany and Poland at an outdoor table. They had gotten an outdoor one because it was the only place they could keep the dogs. They weren't allowed inside, so they just stayed on the patio, which no one seemed to mind. The two men waved as they saw Russia. "Hey man, how's it going?" Germany asked as Russia sat down. Chips and Fritz were greeting each other with wagging tails. "I'm doing well. How are you and Poland?" he asked. "I'd say we're doing pretty good, too," Germany said, looking over at Poland, who was petting the small dachshund in his lap. Russia chuckled. "I swear, whenever Duxie is around, she's always in your arms, Poland," he said, making the other two chuckle. "I mean, you're not wrong," he said, looking off to the side guiltily. A waitress approached and asked if she could get them anything, drinks or appetizers. "We'll have a beer," Germany said as Poland reached for his husband's hand. The woman nodded and looked over to Russia. "You have vodka?" he asked. She nodded. "I'll have that then," he said, looking over to the appetizer menu. "Any appetizers?" she asked. "Not yet," Germany said, knowing that neither he nor Poland had looked at the small menu, and that Russia hadn't gotten enough time to. Eventually, the three ordered and ate their food, talking about other random things going on in the world. Poland laughed as Germany complained about how some countries were always asking for more time on their paperwork, and how he had caught them slacking off. He then started ranting about how UN wouldn't do anything about it, just saying that they could have more time. They eventually finished their food, and after a small argument on who was going to pay, they decided to split the bill. Russia scoffed. "You should have let me pay," he said. Germany huffed. "Well, I think you should have let us pay," he said, grabbing Fritz's leash and starting to walk down the streets. By now, it was dark, and most other restaurants were very busy. Poland let out a little gasp, making Germany look over and worry. "Can we get ice cream?" he asked excitedly, tugging at Germany's arm. The man sighed. "Okay, sure. You want to come too, Russ?" Germany asked, looking over to the taller man. He shrugged. "Sure, I don't have anything else to do," he said. He let out a sad smile as he saw that it was America's favorite ice cream place. They walked into a small line. Poland looked up at the flavors. When it was their turn, the man behind the counter asked what they'd like. "I'll have a vanilla with hot fudge on top, please," Poland said like a happy child. The man nodded. "Cup or cone?" he asked. "Small cup, please," he said, smiling like he had just won the lottery. Germany smiled and kissed the smaller man on the forehead. Russia smiled. He always admired how well Germany treated Poland, especially considering the rest of his family. "For you, sir?" the man asked Germany. "Butter brickle in a waffle cone, please," he said, holding Poland's hand. The man nodded and turned to Russia. "I'll have Dutch chocolate in a waffle cone," the tall man said. Germany looked over to Russia with a raised brow. "Wasn't that America's favorite flavor?" "Yes, it was," Russia said with a sad smile. The man behind the counter handed the countries their ice cream. They paid and left. They all walked to the nearby park and let Chips and Fritz run around with each other. You remember when we used to do this all the time? Poland asked before getting another spoonful of vanilla and hot fudge. They all smiled sadly. Yeah, America would always be super flirty to Russ, Germany said. The other two chuckled. Remember that one time Germany was super drunk and... Let's not, Germany said, cutting the Russian off. Poland and Russia chuckled. Germany had gotten super drunk and was doing some inappropriate things. It's not like you're super innocent either, Germany said, smirking at Russia. The taller man's face flushed bright red, making Poland and Germany both chuckle. It was quiet for a moment as they all ate their ice cream. It's kinda hard to think that he's been gone for about 6 months, Germany said, his eyes starting to tear up. I know, it was so quiet after he left. It was too quiet, Poland said, thinking to how America would always be just a little obnoxious at the UN meetings. Even if people said they didn't like it, when it was gone, it just didn't feel right. Yeah, everything was so cold, Russia said. Speaking of, the next UN meeting is tomorrow, isn't it? He asked. Germany nodded as he finished the last of his cone. Russia sighed. If that's the case, we'll need to wake up early. What time is it now, actually? He said, pulling out his phone. Oh, wow, 11:30. He said, slightly surprised that it had managed to get that late. Oh, well, in that case, we should be heading home, Germany said, pulling Poland closer to him. Chips, Russia called. Fritz, Germany called. Poland bent over to pet the white dog that had come at Russia's call. See you tomorrow, Floppy, he said with a smile. Russia smiled as he said his goodbyes and made his way back to the car. Ever since the incident about a month and a half ago, Poland had always greeted Chips and said goodbye, almost as if he were treating the dog like a good friend, always calling him by the name of Floppy. Then again, Chips had saved his life, so it was understandable that the dog liked him so much. Russia sighed as he got in the car and started to drive back home, Chips sticking his head out the car window and enjoying the wind. And that's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.